All right. So today we're going to try something a little bit different.
Exciting.
We have been told that we agree on everything, so we thought we'd switch it up a little bit.
Which is a mistake because we don't agree on everything. However, duly noted.
Yes. So what we did is got feedback and put all of the feedback into a hat on what topics people think we should discuss. So what I'm going to do live in this moment, we have not prepped a thing, pick a topic that we are just going to riff on. All right.
Sheesh.
So
aggressive.
what we are going to talk about is, building a practice around a provider. Is that smart or dangerous? Ooh, that's a good one. Okay.
That is a really good topic. And it is something that we've seen before. And I've heard a lot about this. Let's define first, because we both understand what this means. So
Yeah, that's true.
what does it mean? What are they asking or talking about when they say, should you build a practice around one provider?
You're basically seeking out a very high producing injector and building a clinic around them, meaning around you're putting a lot of eggs in your basket around their revenue.
A lot of eggs in your basket. So also, side note, Janelle is now a new chicken mom. And so
I didn't even mean to use that reference.
She now has 4 chickens. So
5.
5 chickens? Did you get another one?
No.
It's always been 5?
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's crazy cat ladies, but now you're a crazy chicken lady.
Okay, I'll take it.
But also now it's gotten me looking at chickens, and so my entire Instagram feed is like weird chicken ladies. So anyways, so all the eggs in the basket, we're just going to say pun intended on that one. I do think part of this as well is you talked about building a practice. So that could imply you haven't even started your clinic yet. You need this provider to build around. And the idea is this person has reliable, stable revenue. You can trust, there's no staff necessarily needed. And because of that, you can make revenue projections. You can buy equipment, you can do all these things because it's going to be stable.
Yeah.
But there's also scenarios when you have an established clinic, you have a provider in there who's a top producing provider, and you kind of put all of your weight onto that provider because they're your highest producing, highest rebooking, all of that stuff. You rely on them. So what does it mean? So now that we know, like, okay, what that means, like building a practice around a provider, but what does that practically mean? What do people do if you're building around a provider?
You're opening up a new clinic or opening a de novo around this provider being your meat and potatoes to the clinic.
Lots of analogies.
So like, let's just say you have a $3 million provider and they've been consistent. You're like, I am going to give you your own clinic.
So quite literally building around a provider.
Yeah.
I also think it means you're putting a lot of your energy and your resources into an existing provider that maybe is your top provider. So that could be, and I haven't seen this with our partners, but I have seen it in the past where it's like special treatment, special devices, like it could be lots of leniency.
Let's call it out. It's favoritism.
Okay. Yes. Favoritism. And so because of that, it's really around what they're doing for the practice. And a lot of that has to do with what we will get into a little bit later. But so I'll stop there because I have an idea, but I don't want to get into my topic yet. So now that we understand what it is, Janelle, smart or dangerous?
Do you love or hate it? I think it's dangerous.
Okay. And I think it's both. I think it's smart.
You didn't give me both as an option.
Well, I mean,
is it smart or dangerous? Would you do it if you were opening a practice?
Bottom line is, I said, I think it's smart and dangerous. You said dangerous. Go ahead. Go. Why is it dangerous?
I'm avoiding. Okay. Why is it dangerous? Because there's too many factors that can go into this if you're really banking on all of this around one provider. I've seen it in the past, and I'm not basing my entire theories around this, a couple examples. But a lot of times what happens is this starts to fuel these big egos that are already kind of getting bigger and bigger. If you're not super humble and you don't have if you're not the right culture fit, this is a recipe for disaster. So
what's the danger of a growing ego? I mean, a lot of people, you could say, have confidence, and they have confidence for a reason. If someone's willing to go out and bet on you and build a practice around you, I mean, it's likely that you're going to have an ego or have, that was like a Freudian slip, evil. You're going to have an ego, or you could argue it as confidence, but why are you saying that there's danger around like building someone's ego?
there's not danger around building someone's ego because I think we should all have a healthy level of confidence.
Mm-hmm.
This is where ego dominates decisions and ego dominates how the level of, I don't know if importance is the right word, decision-making power that they start to feel they have because this is their practice.
Right.
That's where it gets really tricky.
And it can impact the culture too.
That's everything. And so I think it's too fine of a line for me that there's too much involved in this one person that you're banking on.
So power dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
So the danger is in that you give them a little too much power in a business. I can see that because I would say like as soon as you give someone all of that leverage and they know when they have that leverage, it's like let's not sugarcoat this. Like if you're giving someone that power, they know they have that power and they will wield it. And go ahead.
Oh no, because I'm like, then they're like, I want to be involved in hiring the manager. I want to be involved in this.
And none of that is wrong. I don't think there's anything wrong with involving people in the process. I think it's when you are making decisions to appease that person versus it's the best possible decision for the business. And I think that's the danger. Because again, we've talked before where I do think it's smart that you bring people in. And if it's a provider who's a top provider and, you know, they bring a lot to the table, I would want their input and other people's input as far as what they see, feedback on patient experience. But again, it goes back to, am I making this decision to please this one person to the detriment of the business, to the culture, to the practice?
Like how much weight do you allow them to carry, I guess. And that's a really fine line. And that's a very strong manager that's able to rein in these types of people that we're talking about.
Okay. So power dynamic, power shift could potentially lead to bad business decisions, could impact the culture. What other dangers are there? I can think of one.
Okay, what?
Although I'll save my smart for the end, and we'll indulge the danger for a little bit. If that person leaves.
Oh, yeah.
Like that is super dangerous.
I think one of the biggest ones.
I think, and culture, I think is a really big one. But if you're putting all of your eggs in that basket, to Janelle's point, is that you have no more eggs left if the basket walks away. You're
or if they get pregnant, or if something in their life changes dramatically. Not that we're mad
at that.
No, I'm not at all. I'm just saying.
Everyone do what you want. Babies
if you
are
built
great.
something around this person that you thought was going to be your show pony, and then all of a sudden they get pregnant and now they're gone for 6 months, or maybe they come back and they're like, my life changed, which is okay. That's totally fine. But now they come back and they're working 2 days a week.
Yeah. And no one is saying that it's not okay, that life shifts and dynamics. Like we all support that. It's great. Love, balance, family first, always. But the business side of this is that if you're not running a smart business and you're hanging your hat on this one provider, if and when life happens, which it will, it's inevitable, then your business has gone down the drain. Because if all of your projections are based on what this person will produce, like I'm going to get this piece of equipment, I'm going to give raises, I'm going to do all of this, and it's based on the revenue that's going to be generated by that person. Now your business has dramatically shifted and changed. And so that is also one of the dangers of it.
The thing that I think can be good about this is if you have the right person in place that's willing to level up everybody else and is invested as like a partner in a different way.
Yes, I totally agree. And that's when I said, I think it's a little bit of both, because I agree with everything that you said is dangerous. But when I think it's smart is that there are a couple of different ways to do this. Now, I'm going to put a caveat on this. I think building an entire practice around one person is always going to be dangerous because you're always going to be dependent on that person. And I don't think there's a way to not make that dangerous. However, some people will weigh out the pros and cons and decide that that's still the path that they want to take. And by all means, absolutely. It's just, and we do that often. We make decisions, we make business decisions. There's always a level of danger. There's always a gamble or a risk in behaviors that typically have a high reward. So there's no detriment to that. It's just that there is a level of danger to that. But in being smart is that it is challenging to ramp new providers. It's challenging to ramp a provider that does not have a book of business. So going into these de novo strategies and you have to start everyone from scratch. Well, the time it's going to take for you to be, actually generating positive numbers and be actually creating revenue and having EBITDA is going to take you so much longer. It just is. And you have to know that. But that also means that you're going to have a bigger burden financially to carry. When you go in with someone who has a book of business, that burden is dramatically lessened and decreased, where you don't have as much stress and you can really focus on building the business versus, focusing on keeping the lights on, or how much, nickel and diming your filler and your Botox. That's never going to be a comfortable feeling. So I think it is smart in those scenarios. And I agree with what you're saying, which is, investing time and energy in a provider that has really earned it, but has the right attitude all day long. I support that. If you have a positive attitude, if you have confidence, but you're humble and you're willing to step out and help others. I mean, a lot of the people that we partnered with are the providers, main providers of their practice, but they dig in, and they are willing to step up, raise their hands and say, I want to go out and help other people. And how do I lift them up? And so it is this attitude where it's not that power dynamic. It's actually causes the opposite, where maybe they do have the power and they can have the power, but they're using it for the greater good. They're not the villain, they're the hero. And so I think in these particular scenarios, when you ask, should I or shouldn't I think only you can answer that. Like, you have to, it's definitely a pros and cons exercise. It definitely has to do with, do you have the right provider? Do they have that mentality and that spirit to be a team player? Is culture important to them? And then also, if you do opt to do that, personally, I would just caution that you don't build everything on their revenue, that you build in some cushion. And remember that we're all just humans living a life, and life will change. And so you have to be adaptable and flexible when you're dealing with that. Any other closing thoughts from you on the topic?
I agree. This is the end. So I do have one question for you.
Okay.
So you're building a de novo and you have a great $3-4 million provider. Would you or would you not do it?
Oh, yeah, I would do it. 100%. I would do it, but I would. So I was landing the plane. We hit the turf and then we bounced back up into the sky. I would totally do it. I would just temper it, like everything I just said. Like, absolutely. If you have someone who is all in, I think there are ways to secure that investment to make sure that they are in it for the long haul that I would recommend. I think it's super smart. You just have to make sure that you put some safety rails in place and set really smart, realistic expectations in place, and do your very best to protect your investment.
Agreed. It's a lot of work, but yes.
Okay.
With all the right boxes ticked, that's a lot of things to be looking for and a lot to bank on, but these people exist because we've partnered with them. You just have to be super careful in how much is too much and what the expectations, to your point, are being set out of the gate.
Yep. So at the end of the day, you tell us, not you. You tell us, building a practice around a provider, smart or dangerous?